night. Yeah, maybe you could just tell any other such memories that have to do with musicians.
Sure. Well, let's start with Buffy Sainte-Marie. She was an entertainer and an attendee at the 1973 West Coast Urantia conference in Brentwood, California. And a lot of people consider that to be the first major international conferences. There had been some, well-attended study sessions, but a true conference where, people come and, there's organized presentation, goes over multiple days. That was really the first. There were about 170 people there. I put on some skits, that were a lot of fun. And kind of one of my first, roles as a script writer. Buffy sang, and she told a story, or the story of how she had come across it in her teenage years and how it meant the world to her. And she didn't say how she had been introduced to it, but that she was really touched to be asked to sing. And it was just absolutely enchanting, and she's just free, loving spirit. And at the end of that conference, one of the young organizers of the conference, one of the original hippies, a guy named Michael Painter, was riding his motorcycle from somewhere in Los Angeles where he lived out to Fullerton, where the Glenwood setup was having a party. And Michael crashed into a car pulling out of a driveway and died on his way to link up with us. And Buffy heard about it and had a chauffeur drive her to where we lived. And she came and spent the evening with us, and we just talked and sang, and she played just beautiful music and taught us to sing in rounds, and just inspiring stories of Indian American Native heritage and the concept of death and eternal life, and how inspiring the Urantia book is. And just, I don't know, it's just a dream come true that a person of that character. None of us went to sleep. She left after breakfast the next day, and we're all going, about 20 of us, what just happened,
You stayed up the entire night?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow. So it was an all-night party.
Yeah.
But
well, it was more of a, I don't know, more of a sing-along, more of a, campfire, even though we didn't have.
And you were all in shock because your friend
had lost one of our best friends. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Who had just died that day. On the way to our party. Michael, and he was just gung ho. I mean, that guy was indomitable. I mean, he's a person that, his life was so incredibly charged after he read the Urantia book. He was just the biggest volunteer of helping to put the conference together, and just just so glad to help, and had just clear sparkle in his eyes, always a big smile. And Michael Painter, great guy.
Wow. And yeah, I thought it was the other Michael Painter, because there's another Michael Painter Urantia book
You
reader.
know, you know, you're probably right.
And you had said that Buffy had said that she had introduced some other musicians and maybe,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah. She had mentioned um, oh, the guy
Richie Havens.
who plays on Richie Havens, and she had said that she was pretty sure that Bob Dylan was a reader, but she didn't know for sure. But that was kind of like the word. Um, I can't really think of her talking much more than Richie Havens. And I now I did have a chance to meet Richie when he came and played here in St. Cloud where I live, and I did happen to be able to bring it up, and he just smiled and gave me a big nod and didn't go much past, yeah, that's a wonderful book. And
Oh, but yeah,
that
but he
was it.
confirmed it. He confirmed it. Wow.
Yes, yes,
Wow.
he did.
That's amazing.
When I asked him, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was just a smile and a nod. Wonderful book.
Yeah. And then you told this story about Julia Fenderson's. Maybe you could introduce also who she was, and because I heard she was the very kind of a hub of activity.
Dynamic person. Yeah, definitely. Probably one of the biggest inspirations of my life. She was a secretary to Dr. Sadler, and she became the youngest member of the forum when she got invited near the end of the reading process, and that she had asked Doc Sadler, to elaborate on the appendix of his 1929 book, The Mind at Mischief, where Doc, talked about, after I've just spent this entire book debunking mysticism, I have to say that I had one experience in my life that, was different. And I think it was the real thing. And that I know this guy who claimed to have been a clearinghouse for extraterrestrials. And someday I would like to say more about it. And so she had asked him, and she was so persistent that he got permission to tell her, and then invite her into the forum. And she left Chicago before the book came to print. And I think she was teaching at a reservation in Arizona. And then before she moved to California. And she was one of the original founders of the first Urantia Society of Los Angeles. And she was a historical scholar. She consulted for Warner Brothers on sets and on different movies and different scenes, and she helped ensure the accuracy of times and props and things like that. But she was mostly a teacher's teacher at USC, and so she taught elementary school teachers and the language and arts, how to be a good elementary school. And she believed that teachers should be like old one-room schools, that you should know your science and math, you should know your art, you should, she loved teaching bird calls, bird songs, and how to appreciate nature. And she was always, dressed to the nines and, looked like a character out of the Wizard of Oz. She was just wearing pinks and blues and beautiful platinum blonde hair, and always a big smile. And she was everybody's aunt, grandma. She was just an absolutely fabulous spiritual teacher. And so I and a bunch of the Glenwood kids, would go out and spend time with her about once a month. We had a private study group, and just to spend time with Julia. And she was the one who really helped lead me into the career that I'm in. That her son had written a book about how to set a life plan, and the sort of thing that if you don't plan, you plan to fail, kind of thing. But it was a how-to book. Go through it step by step, and you write down different affirmations, and then you come up with what you want to do with the spiritual part of your life, what you want to how much money do you want to make by when, and how are you going to do it, and and so I went through her son's book, and that's how I helped write my life business plan about 1974. And so in one of the trips that we had gone to her house, there were three, hippie looking ruffians leaving. And she introduced them as, so-and-so and so and so of Three Dog Night. And then, there was a big, oh, hi, because they were kind of glad to see some kindred spirits. We were pretty hippied out. And, I think they may have been a little put off by Julia's formalness, but I don't know. I'm just speculating there. But, we didn't really talk long. So that was more, just ships passing the night. They were leaving as we were coming. And so, and then she did some follow-up conversations with them. I think as, I eventually heard one of them, one of the three of Three Dog Night, or one of the guys stuck with it. And then he had some additional conversations with her. And then she kind of shared that, oh yeah, I'm still talking to so-and-so, but I forget the guy's name. But yeah, she was pretty circumspect as to, she wasn't touting names or dropping names, just because we had met them, she felt she could talk more, but that was it. I didn't really interact with them. And I don't know which of the three that were, well, I mean, just because there were three there, I don't even know who they were,